Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live. I'm here with Barry Innocent, and we're talking about, at the moment, we're still in gardens, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. Just to remind you that we'll be putting the telephone number on the screens quite soon, so if you have any questions, you can give us a call. We have already started taking some questions, and I will actually read some of those out shortly. But Barry, continuing our own foods and so on, what should we be thinking about?
I think we should be thinking about different ways of conserving our resources. For even water, I think it's a good time now for people to look into rain harvesting. Normally they have those black tanks they use to harvest, like I say that, Wasco water. You can also, the water running off your roof, so much gallons of water just rolling off the roofs and going down the drains into waste. You can get those big 600-gallon water tanks and have your rain harvester with a guttering and falls, and have the water fall straight in that, so you can conserve that and use that for other basic things like watering your plants and even flushing your toilets. I know some houses where they have connected it to their plumbing system, where they use the rainwater to actually flush the toilets, and they use the Wasco water to cook. You can look at that. I know some homes where people actually use solar energy to produce electricity. I know a few business houses that actually have solar powered air conditions, which cause them to save on the electricity. And I know home gardeners that are doing a lot of things to conserve the environment. For example, you know, there are some people, whilst they're cooking, they're cooking some green fig. After the green fig is cooked and the water is still hot, they take out the green fig, then they take the hot water, and it in itself is a weedicide, and you just pour it on. If you have grass coming out through little holes in your wall, just pour the hot water, and in about a few days the grass dies out. Hot water in itself
I didn't know
is
that.
a weedicide. Yes, it's a weedicide, hot water. Even salt, you know, salt by itself, common sodium chloride. If you use salt to control slugs, but you can take salt. If you have grass growing in between the crevices of your concrete, you can just put salt on it to stop it dry up the grass and eventually kill it. And early on we spoke about mulching, but the next thing I find very interesting, Delia, is this plant. We call it the Zepina in Patois. Right? Zepina. Most of our viewers might know it, Zepina. But this is actually a very edible weed. You know, in Trinidad they actually harvest that like we harvest cabbages. They cultivate it like we cultivate cabbages. They grow it, they eat it. This is the scientific name for it is amaranthus. Now our spinach in St. Lucia is normally the Ceylon spinach, which is the vine. You know it? There's the red vine in Ceylon, and there's also the white one. Now for St. Lucia, that is spinach, but in Trinidad, this is spinach. Right? It's called amaranthus. It's not a vine, it's a shrub. Right? Now in America, in America, the spinach that you see in cans are normally from this plant. Right? But in St. Lucia it's a weed. Yeah, it's a weed, considered a weed in St. Lucia, but it's very nutritious, high in protein.
I would never pick that up and think that I wanted to eat it. I mean, how would you apply it to your meal?
Well, the same way you'd apply what they call callaloo, or the same way we apply.
So the leaves grow bigger than this?
Yes, they can.
This is a young one.
Yeah.
I would look at that and think that is definitely weed, and there's nothing we can do with that, and just pull it out.
Again, that's why we said the theme for World Environment Day is think, eat and save. It means it addresses the challenging your mindsets, opening your mind to new things, you know. So yeah, this is an edible plant. It's got some amaranthus, and the vine that we use in St. Lucia is called a Ceylon spinach. Also, what I find interesting about home gardeners is those that use more natural and homemade pesticides. For example, hot pepper. You can take hot pepper, take about a cup of hot pepper, and you can blend it. Right? You can blend it, and then you can take the liquid components of it, put it in the same spray gun I spoke of earlier on, and you can actually spray around your plant. It's a serious insect repellent.
I would have thought that would have killed the plant.
No. It wouldn't.
You mean the ordinary hot peppers that we use
Ordinary
in cooking?
hot pepper. Even what we call this very tiny one that burns a lot. The cayenne pepper.
Yes.
Even this one you can use. It's an insect repellent. Even garlic. You can take one bulb of garlic and you can blend it again, and then you can take the liquid component of it. You can put a little onion also in it if you want, and if you can put it the liquid component and spray.
All news to me. You can take onion and garlic.
Yeah, and make your own homemade pesticide. right, for your whole home gardening.
Wow.
Yes, and
Wow.
there are a few plants that are very interesting, like neem. Neem have medicinal purposes, but it also has pesticidal purposes. It's a contact insecticide. I mean, you can take a few leaves of neem and you can also blend it, or you can draw it against your tea, and you would spray it on your cabbage if you notice any strange insects, and it would kill them.
Okay, well, we're on the same path here, because someone's just asked, how can you stop insects from killing the young plants?
Ah, well, I've mentioned a few options.
So those options that you've mentioned, we can be used under that situation as well.
They can be used.
Okay.
They can be used, yes. But something else they should, something else our audience can bear in mind is, I know some people water plants at nights, right? But I want to tell your audience that plants don't take in water at nights. Remember, plants during the daytime do what is called photosynthesis, where they take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen and water. Whereas we as human beings, we do respiration, where we take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Now what happens at nights, plants perform the same process as humans. At nights, plants go for respiration, where they give out water. So if you water your plant at night, what would happen is the plant would not take in the water, but having the water right there and then would create an environment for pests and fungal growth, which can then affect your plants. Yeah?
Wow, you know what?
So apart from talking to your plant,
Yeah.
try not to, I know you love them, but try not to water them at night, all right?
You know,
You'll
it's
put them in more
just,
trouble.
it's just amazing the things that your brain chooses to remember.
Yes.
Because you've just explained this to me, and I remember learning that in school. But I also remember, I think it's my grandmother again, saying to me that I mustn't wet the plants at night because I'll wake them up.
My goodness, interesting.
So that's the reason why I haven't been watering my plants at night.
Wow.
Because my grandmother said to me that you don't wet them at night because you'll wake them up. And she said especially the ones that close, you know, the flowers that they close at night time.
Right.
And she said to me, no, if you do that, then you wake them up and then they won't be able to grow.
Wow.
So
Imagine
that's what
that.
I chose to remember. But when you
Yes.
were saying that, of course I remembered, you know, from school days.
Normally, the old people, through observation, they are aware of certain responses. They might not understand the full scientific reasoning behind it, but normally they know what they're talking about. Yes, they know what they're talking about. That's why some of them use the moon to they use the moon in their planting procedures, because the moon affects the water table in the soil. The same moon that causes the sea to crash and withdraw and crash and withdraw. A certain point in a certain phase of the moon, it causes the water table to come higher to the surface of the soil, which also causes insects and stuff like that to come close to the surface of the soil also. All right, and also so because once the water table is up, it means the fungal activity is up also, because you know fungus, they need moisture for them to grow and multiply and divide. You know. Yes.
So what's the story then? When I say the stories, maybe that's too gentle a word. When we look at our villages, and I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on the show, when we look at Dennery,
Yes.
I remember when my family first returned to St. Lucia in the 70s, mid-70s, Dennery had a beach.
Yes.
You know, it was more of a functional beach because
Yes.
Dennery is a fishing village.
Right.
But still, there was lots of sand and, you know, lots of rocks, but lots of sand too, and so on and so forth. Now, you go to Dennery now, I think the village looks beautiful because of what they've done to the surrounding landscape when you can actually look into the village. But when you look, you see that there's not as much beach as there used to be. Why?
Well, it's all part of the whole effects of global warming. And as you mentioned in the beginning, the greenhouse effect, in that what has happened now is the sea water table has risen, because you have the ice glaciers in the North Pole and stuff melting away, and all this ice that's melting is causing the sea level to rise. Right now, it's affecting the shorelands all across the world. I mean, right here at Point Seraphine, the taxi drivers that normally park at Point Seraphine and serve the public there are telling me that they have noticed that the where the water is reaching right now, it was not so a couple of years back. So the water level is rising slowly but surely, you know, and it is affecting a few things, like our beaches.
Yes. What can we do to help?
Well, at this point, we have to take care of our environment. We have to try to reduce on activities that would be detrimental to our environment. Example, destroying of trees, like deforestation, you know, and slash and burn. You know, slash and burn. Some farmers and some people, what they do is they clear a piece of land by just setting it on fire, and as these fossil fuels are burnt, the kind of smoke that comes up also affects the greenhouse effect and also affects the global warming.
Some people would say how, because it's just going up in the, it's just going up, puff of smoke is just going into the air.
They think it's going up.
It's just going up and it's, I can see it just, it just clears up. So how can that affect anything?
Well, there's something they call the ozone layer, right? What happens, it looks like it's going up, but when it goes up, it makes these atmospheric gases that form the greenhouse effect that causes it to bounce back down to the earth, and then you have increased surface temperatures. Right, that's what's affecting all our seasons now. That's why the seasons seem to be changing, because what's happening now is, luckily for St. Lucia, that this year our dry season was not necessarily a dry season because we had a lot of rains. But based on most literature research on global warming, they are saying that what should be happening is the dry seasons are going to get longer and the wet seasons are going to get shorter. Right? So this is some of the effects of global warming. So right now, for us to conserve our environment, it would mean that the whole world has to be a global community approach. The whole world has to look into what they can do to reduce fossil fuels and reduce smoke going up in the atmosphere that's destroying our ozone layer. Our ozone layer used to protect us, but now it's being depleted by all these fossil fuel gases going up. You know?
I mean, in your line of work, Barry, how does it feel when you actually see people doing things that are going to be so detrimental to us?
It hurts me. It hurts me. I remember when I went to a certain community and I saw massive acres of land that's been burnt. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I wonder if they realize what they're doing, you know. And I thought to myself, even the earthworms are being destroyed in this. And even the earthworm has its important role to play in home gardening and in agriculture. Because the earthworm, it does a lot of things. For one, it does tillage, because what it does, it goes to the surface of the soil. It's organic matter like dead leaves, dead stuff. It then goes down to the soil, deep in the soil, and then when it fecates or when it uses bowels, it releases a substance called cast, which comes out in a form that the plant can absorb through the roots very easily. You know, and it also, the tunnels it creates in the soil allow ventilation in the soil. The wind can blow right through. It also allows free drainage of water, which prevents waterlogging. But when they do slash and burn, the earthworm is killed. You know, it's killed.
Okay, well, that's really informative, and so many things are going through my mind while you're saying that, and I will enlighten you when we come back after the break. Now, we've closed entries for tonight's giveaways, and when we return, we'll actually take your calls. So this is Dolor Factor Live. Please stay with us.